Well, I caught some redfish back in January, and these are some pretty big slabs that I kept reserved to make a dish like what I'm gonna make. Basically, this is everything I'm gonna use for it. Some crawfish tails. This is 12 ounces. So yeah, this is not even a pound. It's $13 for 12 ounces of crawfish tails, which is crazy. So, bell pepper, onion, celery, garlic, butter, a little bit cayenne, some Old Bay, a little bit salt, and some redfish slabs. So let me show you what we're gonna do first here. And go ahead and get you, this is half a block of butter. So basically 4 tablespoons of butter. And once that gets melted, we'll add the vegetables to it. We'll go ahead and basically put everything in the pan. And we're going to cook this until, I guess we'll call it translucent. I'll show you, it's going to take a while. I'm going to do this on a pretty low heat. Just simmer it, and eventually the butter's going to get a little brown to it, and that's kind of what we're looking for. But you don't want to cook it too high because you don't want to burn the butter. And make sure your vegetables are diced up pretty fine. And that's about how you want it simmering, just on a real low heat. Nothing crazy, because you don't want to, burn the butter or the garlic for that matter. Garlic does get brown pretty quick, so just keep it real low. And now we'll go ahead and get the fish prepared. So this is going to be baked fish that I'll be doing with this dish, and of course, the whole fillet looks better when you bake it. But if you look down this line right here, you got this blood line, and I don't like the taste of that. Even though it might look better as a dish, but I always cut straight down the blood line. You can see how thick it is. That just has a real, it gives the fish a real bad taste. So I like to cut all that out. It's pretty simple. Get you a nice sharp fillet knife, and I just kind of run it on an angle and get as close to it as you can. Just kind of cut it all off. And if you got any on the actual meat itself, I'll just run my knife like very, very, very thin, like right under it, and just kind of cut all that away as well. So when you finish, now you should be left with a nice clean piece of fish with no blood left on it. So I got a few more little spots to do. Let me get all that done. And there's my first slab. See, all nice and cleaned. Nice pretty white meat now, not this dark stuff. So let me get the next piece done. And once you're done, that's how much we got cut off. But like I said, that just gives the fish a terrible taste. Pretty much any kind of fish I cook, if I see that in there, I cut it off. It just makes it taste better. And even the small pieces, you can save, not just the big slabs. So that's all done. I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the refrigerator now, and until I need it. All right, we've been a few minutes now, and that's how we look on the onion and everything. I'd say maybe about 10 minutes, just on a low heat. Like I said, I didn't add anything else to it. Here's my 12 ounces of gold plated crawfish. $13 for 12 ounces. That's just, I don't know, that's crazy, but I guess it is what it is. So this is all the crawfish, and now we'll just go ahead and let this simmer for probably another 10 minutes, just on a low heat. Get it all nice and cooked. Oh, and by the way, if you buy crawfish, Make sure it does not say product of China on it, because if it does, you will not like it. Number one, the smell is yeah, it's pretty overwhelming what it smells like. So make sure you get Louisiana crawfish. It's just a lot better. I don't know what they do to the ones from over there, but yeah, I don't cook with that. That's just nasty. Smells nasty. Yuck. And for my spice, I'm gonna go ahead and put in 1/4 of a teaspoon of some cayenne pepper. Gotta have that. We're making a crawfish dish, and this is 1 teaspoon of some Old Bay seasoning. To me, Old Bay just goes good with any kind of seafood. Probably my favorite spice when I'm making seafood type stuff. And that's pretty much it for now. We'll let this simmer for a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and put the lid on it, and we'll just let it simmer on low for, you know, gotta cook everything, so be a little while. We've been cooking about 15 minutes now. It's pretty much done at this point, but I'm gonna let the flavors kind of meld together a little bit more. Spice is good in it. I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of salt. That was a 1/4 of a teaspoon. I'm gonna add 1/2 of a teaspoon of salt, and then I'll give everything a stir, and you know, taste it again and see if I gotta adjust it anymore. I always like putting a little at a time for salt. That way you don't over salt it. And let's go ahead and give it a little taste here. I like to try to get a little bit of everything in the spoon. Let's say we're good now. Salt's good. Spice is good. That's pretty much it. So let your onion mixture cook for about 10 minutes on very low. Put your crawfish in, and you let that cook on a very low flame for about 15 minutes, just until they're done. And that's pretty much it. So let me show you the next step. So I went ahead and separated the butter. I got 2 tablespoons I'm gonna use to bake the fish in, and this is the 2 tablespoons that I have, you know, in this dish. And we're gonna make a simple topping that we're gonna be baking the fish with. Go ahead and put in 2 tablespoons of just some plain old breadcrumbs. I like the Progresso brand. It's pretty good. Go ahead and get that mixed up now, and just kind of get it to where it's incorporated. I think a 1-for-1 ratio is a, you know, good amount. So that's about it. And like I said, this will be my topping for my redfish when I bake it in the oven. At this point, we'll go ahead and make our the sauce we're going to be putting on top of the redfish when we're baking it. This is 1/3 of a cup of some whipping cream. I think that'll be plenty. And we'll go ahead and get this mixed up. Oh boy, that's going to be good. And we'll get this up to temperature. I got it about on a medium low. And you just want to get it where the sauce thickens up a little bit. So don't put the cover on it at this point. Just let it cook real low for a few minutes, and it should start to thicken. All right, we've been about 3 minutes. Starting to get a nice little, getting the gravy getting a little thick. This is some green onion tops. You pretty much got to have that when you're cooking. Just a little handful, just to give it a little color, a little extra flavor. And the sauce is pretty thick now, so that's about where we want it at. So that's pretty much it. This is going to be the coating for the redfish. And I'm going to just leave my pan barely simmering. I got my broiler on high. So let me show you the next step. Okay, so I'll be doing 2 of my slabs here. These are the 2 big pieces. So when you catch big redfish or any kind of big fish, you know, this is definitely a good recipe for them. So that's pretty much it. Go ahead and dry them off real good, so we don't induce any extra liquid when we cook. And for the seasoning, I'm just using some Old Bay, and I'm not going to measure it. I'm just kind of going to coat each side of the fish with it. Give it a nice little coating. And do both sides, or whatever your favorite seasoning is. It doesn't really matter. But I found Old Bay just goes really good with seafood. Got a lot of celery in it. And Old Bay doesn't have a lot of salt, so I'm gonna add a little bit of salt to it as well. And like I said, not a lot, just a little sprinkling on both sides, because you know Old Bay is not that. I think it's 6% salt, so you know a little salt will help bring the flavor out. That's pretty much it. Here's our butter we had. So we're going to take about maybe about a half of a tablespoon and just kind of coat our pan with it. That way the fish doesn't stick. Now we'll go ahead and lay our 2 slabs of fish in the pan. And I'm not adding any lemon juice. This is just butter. Then we'll take the rest of the butter and kind of pour on top of our fish. And I'm gonna use my hand and kind of make sure it's evenly coated. That way we get a nice even brown on it. That's pretty much it. Now redfish might take about 10 minutes to cook. So my flames run the same way I'm putting my pan in. This is a gas oven. And basically we're going to cook this for 5 minutes. So our 5 minutes is complete. My broiler's still on high. And this, like I said, it's not quite cooked yet, but it's getting there. So now we'll go ahead and do the next step. Now we'll go ahead and finish our masterpiece here. Here's our crawfish, and we've been having this simmering on the stove for the past 5 minutes while the redfish was in the oven, and we got a nice thick gravy now in it. And we'll go ahead and spoon this directly on top of our redfish. I mean, oh Lord, that's gonna be good. I can't wait to eat this. And when you do your redfish in the broiler, make sure you kind of do it where they're not touching. So let me go ahead and get all this added. Okay, now surely we could have stopped right there, but I'm just making a little extra special here. We're going to take our breadcrumb and butter mixture that we made earlier, and basically just kind of, I'm using a fork. That way I don't want to put it on real thick, and I'll probably have some left over. I just want like a nice little crumble on top, so when you're eating it, you got a nice little crunch. I think that'll be a good little addition to it. It's not really a recipe either. This is something I kind of made up. So I probably had half the breadcrumb mixture left over. Like, I mean, you could put more, but I just want a nice light crunch when it browns up. So my oven's still on, the broiler's still on high. I'm gonna go ahead and put this back in for about another 5 minutes, and that should do it. And basically just kind of put it in while my flame's like this. That's why I'm putting my pan like that. And about 2.5 minutes I'll flip it. That way we get an even cook. Okay, we've been about 2.5 minutes now. And that's how we're starting to look. And for the last 2.5 minutes, I'm gonna go ahead and put my broiler on low, just to finish it. This is how it looks. That was 2 minutes on high in the broiler, and then 2 minutes on low in the broiler. To me, that's perfect. That's how you should want it. Redfish should be cooked. And for redfish, you want it to be 145. And we just got to 145, and it's climbing pretty slow. So I'd say that's a perfectly cooked fish. And I'm in the thickest part of the fish as well. We're done. So everything's done. Like I said, very, very simple. I actually got the breadcrumb idea from when I did the eggplant shrimp casserole I made. That breadcrumbs just mixed with a little bit of butter has a real nice flavor to the dish. So that's why I did it that way. Well, if you had a loaf of French bread, You can use that sauce as kind of to dip your bread in. Nice butter, crawfish tasting sauce. I don't have any French bread. I'm actually trying to watch my carbs a little bit. So it's pretty, not too bad, just a little bit of breadcrumbs. So that'll be my lunch today. Well, everything's done. Let's go ahead and give it a little taste and see what we got. Get a little bit of the breadcrumb mixture, crawfish, a little bit of the redfish, a little bit of that gravy. Ooh, that breadcrumb mixture is definitely a nice touch. Got a little bit of a crunch to it. Real good butter taste. That's perfect. That is very good. I'll definitely be making this again. You could do shrimp as well, either one, shrimp or crawfish, or even crab. Well, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed my video, please subscribe to my channel and hit the like button. Thanks.